Okay, so anytime you deal with fractions, you gotta go the whole deal with fractions is that these numbers here in the bottom have to be the same in order to be able to do anything with them, like in terms of adding. So as long as those are together, like the same, the twos, they can add that together. Basically, I can just add the tops together. So as long as it's the same, then this is it goes over 2 on the other side, and then I can add the top. So then it becomes 2. 1 plus 1 is 2, which is equal to 1. So the second one, let's say B will look like this. Okay, so the idea here is that like these don't obviously match up. So what you have to do is make it 2 over 4, and then what I can do to the second one is multiply it by 2, everything. So I can multiply the top by 2 and multiply the bottom by 2. And then the second fraction becomes now the bottoms match. And so when we go to the other side, you get something over 4 because these have to match. And then you just add the top. It's 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1 again. Now this one here, we have 2 over 2 minus 1 over 2. Okay, so because the bottoms are the same, I know it has to go over 2, and then I just do the math on the top. 2 minus 1 is 1, so that's 1/2. That's your answer. And D, 4 over 4 minus 1/2. So again, like these don't match. So what I have to do is multiply the second one by 2 again, so that I get a 4 in the bottom. But what I do to the top, I have to do the bottom. And so I'm going to get 4 over 4, and then I have to minus, it's going to be 2 over 4. Right? And then so on the other side, I know it has to go over 4 because now these match. And then I do the math on the top. And that's your answer. Actually, not quite, because 2 over 4 can be reduced to 1 over 2. Right. It's 2's half of 4. Now this one, E, not too worried about the denominators match. You only really have to worry about the denominators, the bottoms matching, when you are adding or subtracting. All right, so the first 4 you worry about that, the bottoms matching. For these ones, you don't have to worry about that. So 2, and the brackets just mean that they're multiplied. Well, that turns into the way fractions work. I can rewrite this. It'd be 2 over 1 multiplied by 1 over 2, right? So anytime you have any number, it could be 1,000, you could always put a fictional 1 underneath. Right? It's always, you can always write something as a fraction with a 1 underneath. So with this, the way you multiply fractions is you go top times top and bottom times bottom. And so you get 2 times 1 is 2, and 1 times 2 is 2. And then that reduces to 1, because 2 divided by 2 is 1. Right, and then F. F is 4 divided by 2 multiplied by 1/2. Again, we get to multiply top times top and bottom times bottom. So 4 times 1 is going to be 4, and 2 times 2 is going to be 4, which is equal to 1 again. And then G, get 1 divided by 1/2. So this one can be a little bit tricky. So you can take 1 and then I'm going to rewrite it as a fraction. So anytime you have fractions inside of fractions, so I have what would have been a regular fraction, but then I have another fraction inside of the fraction. So what you have to do is you can take this and bring it to the numerator, but when you do that you have to multiply by the reciprocal. So this basically means you're going to get 1, and we can multiply the reciprocal, just simply means 2 over 1. So when I bring it up, this piece flips in orientation, so it becomes 2 over 1. Now this is just a multiplying exercise. So it's 1 times 2 and 1 times 1, so you get 2 over 1, which is equal to 2. And I know that's right because if I thought about 1 divided by, if I switched 1/2 to 0.5, well, you're asking yourself how many times does basically 50 cents go into $1? Twice. So then I know I'm right. And then H, 2 divided by 2 divided by 1/2. So again, we can do the same thing. We'll rewrite it. 2 divided by 2 divided by 1/2. Right? And then I can bring this to the numerator. Right? And then, so that turns into 2 divided by 2 multiplied by 2 over 1. Right? Because this got flipped when it came over here. When this came over here, it flipped. So it became 2 over 1. And then that equals 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. 4 divided by 2